Alright, Brush Monkeys, we are back for another Quarren Tuesdays, and this week we are looking at Mal, the Catfolk Warrior, number 44117 from Reaper Bones Black. And the artist here is Julie Guthrie, and I'm really excited about this one because Julie Guthrie was one of my favorite artists back in the day. She did a lot of work with Grenadier and Ral Partha and Citadel back in the days. Always amazing looking figures. I've never been disappointed by one of Julie Guthrie's figures, and Mal here is no different. He is pretty slick looking little guy. He's a cat. He's armored up. He's got a sword. He's got a bow and arrows on his back there. He's all ready for action. And so I thought about painting this guy like my cat Gaz, but Gaz has kind of gray fur and it doesn't show up real well on here, so I'm going to paint him like my other cat Shinobi. And Shinobi has black fur. So this is going to be another fairly quick and easy walkthrough here, if I can stop knocking over my paints. I'm going to do them mostly in contrast paints. So I've got Blood Angel's Red for the armor, which I think will stand out really nice against the Black Templar that I'm going to use for the fur. Move that down a little bit. I've got Snakebite Leather for the leather straps and the quiver there. I've got Basilicanum Gray for the stone that he's on and the sword. I've got Wildwood for the wooden bits like his bow, maybe the case of his quiver there. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that in Wildwood and do leather for the little bit there. I've got Dark Angel's Green for the texture on the base, and he's also got some like little fabric bits here and there that I'll do in green just to stand out from the black and red. And then I'm going to do his eyes. I'm going to base him in matte white and then paint him with, that's Army Painter matte white, and then paint over him with Scale Color Fantasy Games Slimer Green, which is really bright, but it's also a really kind of thin green. If you think about the old Citadel Goblin Green from back in the day, that's kind of the same shade this is. It looks very similar, but it's also really thin. Their Fantasy Games line of paints is really thin compared to their Scale Color line, which is kind of gel based and really thick. And then for his sword hilt and the trim on his armor, I'm going to base that in Balthazar Gold and then highlight it in Vallejo Model Color Old Gold. So he's going to be pretty slick when he's done. And then yeah, I think we'll go from there. See how all that looks, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Black Templar on him, and then we'll come back to take a look at him. All right, see you soon. Bye. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the fur all done on Mal here. Shinobi Mal, as I'm calling him. And it's still wet, obviously, just did it. But as with most miniature projects, I'm starting from the inside out, which means starting from the skin or the fur, and then going to the outside. And when that happens, there are places where it'll kind of get a little slopped over, like you'll see there's some straps on that arm right in here that the black is now covering. There's a couple little bits where the black is touching what will later be red armor. And so I got out the Grey Seer base, Citadel base, and Grey Seer and the other one, Wraithbone here. These are the two bases that are meant to be used with the contrast paints. These are the two that came out at the same time as the contrast paints, and they're meant to be the base to them. Which one you use will have will make a difference on the final figure. I chose Grey Seer for this one because most of what got slopped over on there is armor or leather, and so I wanted kind of a cooler effect to that. I didn't need it to be as warm as it will with Wraithbone. Tends to be a much warmer off-white color, whereas Grey Seer is a much cooler gray. So I got that. I'm going to let the black dry, and then I'm going to go over the spots on the armor with the gray sear. I'll let that dry, and then I'll paint the red, and then we'll come back and take a look at how the red armor looks against the black fur. And then I'm probably going to end up touching up a couple more spots with the gray sear before I get into doing the leather or the steel parts. So that's the progress I'm making so far. I will be back in a little bit. See you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, as you can see, I've got the red on the armor done. I've also got the gray on the base and gray on the sword done. Excuse me. And he's coming along pretty nicely. I'm going to have to go back over some of the, like the leather straps on his forearms I did, but like the bow back here in the back, some of the arrows, some of the leather straps he's got on the front of him here, the scabbard. I'm going to have to go back over those and touch those up with the gray sear before I do the snakebite leather. But he's coming along pretty good. I'm really liking how he looks so far. I'm going to do a little bit of gold trim on the armor when I do the sword hilt, so they'll get some Balthazar gold and old gold in there as well. And I haven't quite decided what color I'm going to paint the hilt of his sword. He's got a little sword right in there. I may just do that in snakebite leather as well. Just give him a leather hilt, kind of a generic sword. But yeah, it's not looking too shabby so far. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break and touch up those leather straps, and then we'll come back and see how the leather looks when it's done with the snakebite. So see you soon. Bye. And I'm back, and as you can see, we've got the leather straps and scabbard on his front there done. And I decided to do the hilt of his sword right there in wildwood. That's why it's a little darker brown. Same color I used for his bow back here on his back. I don't know if you can see that very well. The bow's right there, and a little bit sticking up over here. I also used it on the shaft of his arrows here. And he's looking pretty spiff. So the leather and the wildwood are still kind of wet, so I'm going to let them dry a little bit, take a break. Oh, I also based his eyes. So I got the whites of his eyes done. And like I said, those are going to be, I'm going to go over those with the, I guess you can name him Slimer Green. Give him green eyes. And so the next color I have to do on this guy is going to be the Dark Angel's green. And that's going to go on the cloth that you see under his armor here, on both sides. This little leather piece on his back, I'm going to give him a little green leather there, and probably the fletchings of his arrows. Although I don't know about that. I may do a different color for the arrow fletchings. But I kind of like the green. Maybe I'll do, there we go. Do orc flesh. I'll do Dark Angel's green on the fletchings of the arrows and the base and the cloth. And then that little piece of leather there is going to be orc flesh, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit from the other green. And then we'll get started in on the golds, probably. He's going to have some trim on his armor there. Little details on his armor here and on his forearm there. Trying to see if that's an actual ridge or if that was just done with the contrast paint. I think it was just done with the contrast paint. But this shoulder pad here will be trimmed in red, or trimmed in gold. So I'll get to doing all of them. And do his eyes. And do his base. So yeah, he's coming along pretty nicely. I'm really liking how Mal's looking here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and let those finish drying, and then we'll come back and do some more. So see you soon. Bye. Alright, I got the greens done on them. That's the orc flesh on the arrow quiver, which is looking pretty lighter green than I thought it did. It came out a much lighter green than it did on an orc figure that I painted a while back. And got the Dark Angels green on the feathers there on his arrows, and on the cloth bits on his outfit. There's not a whole lot of that showing underneath the armor, but it does stand out pretty nicely against the armor. So I'm pretty happy with that. And of course, did the green on the base. Now, I'm probably going to dry brush the base with and get it some niblet green here once that dries. And I also got his eyes painted, if it'll zoom in there. See if I can get it a little closer. Yeah, I got his eyes based green. And so I've got the, bear with me, broke out the Army Painter matte black to do the pupils once the green dries. And then, like I said, I'm going to do the base with a little bit of niblet green and do the golds, so the metallics. So he's coming along pretty well, and he's making some progress. He's getting almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break and let those dry, and then we'll come back and do the metallics. Do the metallics in his eyes. So we'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys. I got the golds done on Mal, the Catfolk Warrior, and he looks really spectacular. I really like how he turned out. I think that gold trim looks really good on him. Also got his eyes painted in. You can see the little black slits on his eyes. He's looking really good. Got his base dry brushed and his base band layered on. So, really the only thing left, normally I just matte seal them and call them a day, but this time I'm going to matte seal them. I'm also going to gloss coat the eyes, which may or may not make a huge difference right now, but because of how tiny they are, but it'll give that kind of wet look to them. And then I've still got some of these Battlefield, Army Painter Battlefield's Meadow Flowers tufts. You can kind of show you what they look like. I got a couple of the yellow ones, not a whole lot, but I've got a bunch of the yellow and white ones in there. So I'm going to glue maybe one or two of those onto the base. It's kind of a small base, so I'm probably only going to do one. But it'll just add an extra little layer of interest into the base and another little color onto his, probably put it like right here. So the next time you see this guy, he's going to be completely finished. I'm going to go ahead and go matte seal him now and do all that. And then, yeah, next time you see him, he's going to be done. And we'll see what it looks like. Alright, see you soon. Bye. And there he is, all finished. Mal, the Catfolk Warrior, sculpted by Julie Guthrie, by Reaper Bones Black, number 44117. He looks pretty spectacular. I'm really happy with how he came out. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day on this, call him done, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click subscribe. Both of those help me with my YouTube numbers and help support me doing what I do best. Speaking of which, if you want to support me more directly, you can visit my Patreon site and go on my Instagram page to see all the miniatures that I paint on this site and how to get your hands on one of your own if you want one. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. You can check both of those to see when new videos get posted. And visit my merch store at storefrontier.com/flyingmonkeystudios. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.